How the hell y'all doing? We got a loud bunch in here. Y'all give it up for Jesse B. Franklin III. I see we got some new lights too. How about that shit? We got any kids in here? Yeah! You have no idea how happy I am that you're here. So y'all keep that in mind when you get any questions together. We're gonna play you a song and then we're gonna answer some questions. So just keep in mind that we got kids in the house. And I'll try to do the same. Now with that being said, we're gonna sing a song with some cuss words in it. It's good to be back in Georgia, by God. I gotta fix this little stool. Much to these little things, isn't there? Take your shit up. No, my wife's got me. I appreciate it, but my wife's in the house tonight, so I can't tell you where she's at. Well, this song right here, I don't want, for those of you that ain't never heard it before, I don't want you to get the wrong idea and think that I'm singing it because I got everything figured out, because I damn sure don't. But this song's just about, you know, everybody's got things that they were raised on from the time they was little, and it's kind of the things that are in your foundation, and they're a part of who you are. Some things you just won't ever change. So that's what this one's about. I hope y'all do. You said I could lose a little real, lose count $100 bills, be that small town boy that finally made it out. I think that's where they had me wrong. Gonna write my own damn songs, and I don't wanna move to Nashville, man, I got home. Yeah, what you see is what you get. And when you look at me, I hope you see as real as it gets. 'Cause I'm a grown-ass man. You ain't gonna change my ways, and I ain't set in stone. Sitting there in Georgia, Clay, man, I was brought up on that book. My granddad isn't here, and you can bet your ass that I know who I am. Yeah, I'm a grown-ass man. Well, I ain't no politician. Kissing ass just ain't my style. So if you ask me the wrong question, make it more than just my dial. All you really need to know right where I stand. So somewhere between amazing grace, black and black and simple man, I'm a grown-ass man. You ain't gonna change my way, but I ain't set in stone. Sitting there in Georgia, Clay, man, I was brought up on that book. My granddad isn't here, and you can bet your ass that I know who I am. Yeah, I'm a grown-ass man. Some folks think that I'm an outlaw. Oh, but used to be. I hope I go out like that. Man, I know this world is changing, but I know the King James ain't. It ain't no secret I'll be selling. Never claim to be no saint. But I'm a grown-ass man. You ain't gonna change my ways. And I ain't set in stone. Sitting at a Range Rover claim that's brought up on that boat. My granddaddy's knee. You can bet your ass that I know who I am. Yeah, man, you can bet your ass that I know who I am.
Yes, you are.
Give it up for Jesse in the third. Any of y'all got this cold stuff that's going around?
Yeah, Debbie does.
I bet y'all weak. I ain't sleep. Coughing stuff up. What do you say? Don't be dirty.
Kids in the house.
You reckon them lights work, asshole? God. Good morning.
Hello.
So how y'all doing, man?
Woo. A lot better now.
Oh, you and me both.
Woo, baby.
So we gonna answer. I guess I'm gonna answer some questions. Here's the only thing I'm gonna ask you. Please don't be the guy or girl that raises your hand and goes, "Hey, man. I got my brother, sister's cousin, twice removed from the Miller side of the family, a bunch of Yankees over there. Will you tell them happy birthday? No, we're not doing happy birthday. If it's your birthday, you got somebody on the phone that it's their birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. We happy?
Here we go.
Yeah. Turn the page. So, what's that? What is it? Trump or Cruise? Trump or
Don't answer that. Don't answer that.
You know what? I like things about both of them. I gotta say that I do like Trump's honesty. And I don't think he'd be a bad man for the job, because if you think about what the presidency is, it's a bunch of people handing you shit all day in a million different directions. If you think about a billionaire, what's he do every day? Exactly that. It's day in and day out of people handing him stuff in different directions. So I don't think he'd be a bad man for the job any way you look at it. But I like things about Cruise too. I'll tell you a pretty funny story. I took my wife had always wanted to see New York at Christmas. So I took her there this year, and it was 76 degrees. Merry Christmas. Here you go, honey. Ain't it pretty? Looks like Georgia. But I took her on this little shopping deal, and we had this little personal shopper guy that we hired, and I took her to Saks Fifth Avenue, and I called him, and I don't want anybody to get the wrong idea. You know, if somebody's gay, that's your business. It ain't really my thing, but hey, you know, we all different. But this fella, I called him, and he answered the phone, and I hung up, and I said, well, that answers that question. There's no more question on that side of the fence. He said, what do you mean? I said, you'll see. Well, we got to the top of the escalator, and we got off. He said, I'm gonna meet you at the top of the stairs. Yo, I ain't lying to you. This dude had a cul-de-sac haircut, like he bald on top. And she actually wanted to ask him what kind of eyeshadow he used. She was a but her name was Benji.
Oh. Well, there you go.
But he blew my mind, you know, because we all got in our mind what that fellow, you know, he's from New York, so I figured, you know, we're looking at a Democrat, you know. This joker told me everything about being a redneck that I didn't know, and he, it's racist. Not towards black people, towards everybody else. He walked out on the street, he said, okay, yeah, I really hope we get Trump in office. And he bummed a cigarette off of me, and I figured he was going to try to bond with me or something. And there was a dude that had a Georgia Bulldogs hoodie on. But if y'all can imagine being in my position, my wife's upstairs, and I'm standing outside smoking a cigarette with this fella. You know what I mean? It was, you know, and this fella walked up and he's like, man, I just really want you to know. He looked at the dude real weird. He was like, man, I want you to know I like your music. I said, I appreciate it, bud. That dude walked off, he's like, I'm telling you, we need Trump in office. Like he just wouldn't let it go. I don't know if he really is voting for Trump or not. He just thought that since I was from Georgia and I got tattoos and chains and everything else, that he figured that had to be where I landed. I did watch the thing he did in South Carolina, which I thought was hilarious. He was like, what are we going to do? Everybody was like, build a wall. Who's going to pay for that wall? Mr. Trump. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Yes, ma'am.
Quick question. So is Stone Cold Sober, that song, did you really write that about your current wife?
Yeah. It was, when the idea that song was put together, and when it came to the table, these are guys that I write a lot of songs with, and sometimes they come to the table with things that are part of the way done, and when I heard it, I remembered this time that I was in Nashville, and I called her drunk from a bar down there, and
No, you
you know how that goes. I probably told her I was sitting beside some people that I wasn't. Yeah, I just met this fellow, said his name's George Strait. I don't, never heard of the guy. But no, but it reminded me of that time, and yeah, we finished it up about her. She could probably tell you some more stories about that. She has a lot better memory than I do, obviously. It was about 7 years right there, real hazy. All right, yes, ma'am.
Alright, very important question. Batman or Superman?
Batman or Superman? I mean, Batman wears black, right? That's right. You a Batman fan?
Yes. That was a do or die question.
Oh, really? So I won, huh? Tell you, when job security relies on a superhero, we looking at something serious. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I just got a question. When did you decide to start writing your own music, and who inspired you?
Man, to be honest with you, growing up, I never really, I had like 2 guitar lessons, and I decided that I didn't want to take lessons anymore. I just figured it out. And when you do that, I feel like I screwed myself out of the opportunity to learn a lot of other people's stuff. And I just always kind of had a knack and a will to write stuff of my own. So it started at a real young age. But a guy named Corey Smith, he was playing this bar that just had opened in my hometown called Mike's Down Under. And I didn't really know who Corey was. I'd heard his stuff. I didn't know what he looked like. We were in there, and I decided that it was a great idea to tell my parents that I was playing a praise and worship conference in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and then go within you could throw a rock and hit my house from this bar. I graduated with 66 people. They're never going to know, right? So I brought my own beer in there, and I was getting kicked out. And in the process, Corey was like, "Hey, are you Brantley Gilbert?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Man," there were like 20 people there. He was like, "These are all my close friends, and I played everything in my set list twice. You want to play a couple songs?" I was like, "If it keeps me from getting my ass kicked out of here, yes." I sure do. And from that point, we started playing shows together in Dahlonega and Georgia Southern and Valdosta, and it kind of just picked up from there. And that dude's always been a huge inspiration and you know, somebody I've always looked up to as far as songwriting goes. He, as far as painting a picture with words, it don't get much better than Corey Smith. He's damn good. Yes, sir.
When?
Man, I got my fingers crossed. I tell you. Yeah, man, I'm telling you. That's a sticky question because you never really know. Anytime a coach gets somewhere, you don't know if he's going to have a blowout opening year or if there's going to be some rebuilding years. But, I mean, if you're a Georgia fan, we've kind of had a rebuilding program for the past few years. So I'm hoping that, we need a quarterback in there, man.
Where's the Bama fans? I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding.
That's a beat down. Where's the Bama? Yes, ma'am.
When you decide you have to write a new album, do you just do you have a process for it, or is it I thought of this on the tour bus the other day?
Oh, wow. That's impressive. No, I wish it was that simple. No, I have a catalog of about 150 to 200 songs that I start off with, and there's a selection process. All my records are chapters of my life that tell a story. It's picking the songs that really tell that story, and you got to tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. So you really just kind of narrow that list down, and then between now and then, which we're looking at going in after the summer tour this year, and cutting a new one. So we probably got one more single off this record, which probably sounds crazy to some of you because most of these guys out here release about 3 records a year. We do one every 3 years. Take that, America. Yes, ma'am.
Do you ever write a song about your experience in Arlington?
Well, One Hell of an Amen had something to do with it, but there's several songs that inspired a lot of things, not just songs. It was, I don't know if any of you have ever been to Arlington, but that's a different kind of feeling. That's something I've never seen or felt before. So that inspired a lot of things. Yes, sir.
How about them leopards, or which one you like better, Jefferson Dragons or them leopards, boy?
Well, man, I'm a Jefferson graduate. So Go Dragons. But I married a tiger. Married across the river. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's one of the most heated rivalries in the state of Georgia. And we were both single A schools when I was in high school. That's right. Banks County, I got to tell you, I had some good buddies from Banks County, man. I think I'm looking at him. Is that you, brother? God, no! How you doing, brother? Well, by God. We ain't seen each other in a long time. I'm 4 years sober, man, but I got somebody to drink it, I promise. Good to see you, brother. Oh, Mike Nicholas say he's mentioned. He was just up on the bus a minute ago. Him and Christy are here tonight. Yes, ma'am.
Do you still have your dog?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, does your dog tour with you?
He doesn't anymore. My wife loves him, but she it's kind of a love-hate relationship between the two of them. He don't necessarily listen to her. He don't listen to anybody but me, let's face it. I got him at 5 weeks, and he was deaf when I got him, so I'm kind of like mom and dad all at the same time, and he lives at my farm now in Alabama. And
Alabama.
yeah, they won't let me farm deer and cheat in Georgia, so gotta go to Alabama to do that shit. Yes, sir.
How close really were you? We know about your Halfway to Heaven song and album. How close were you to the point of death?
Hell, I don't know. I hope I wasn't as close as the song said. But no, man, I don't really. There was a lot of things about that wreck that are kind of unbelievable to talk about. There's a lot of stories that go around about it, and you never really know what to believe and what not to believe. But I will tell you, it didn't really make sense. The hole that I came out of in the back glass was about that big, and I'm, well, bigger than that hole. Somehow or another I got out of it and hit a tree and everything else. So it was, I will tell you, the first thing I did was go to looking for somebody. I could have swore up and down somebody was with me. And it was 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. There's beer scattered across 2 lanes of traffic. And it's right on the way to the church I grew up going to. So, everybody's passing and going, hey, man, what the hell happened? But I don't really remember much of that. I do remember the first guy that was there that I knew was a fellow named Lee Goza. And his son was a guy I went to high school with. He was a senior when I was a freshman. And he died in a car wreck. He was working one day. We were out of school. I remember all of us were at the football field house watching film, and he passed away. And, I just remember thinking, this guy passed, he died in a car wreck and was working, wasn't doing anything wrong. And here I am out here scattered around like who done it. And, his dad was the first person there to wreck. So that was probably, shame, embarrassment, just... I wanted to trade places with him right there on the spot, but that wreck was a mess. It wasn't any fun. My dad had the insurance company park the truck at the house for like a week, so that everybody that came to see me could look at what happens when you drink and drive. I was a poster child for what not to be there for a little while. It was great. But yeah, man, learned a lot of things from that wreck. Yes, sir.
Big arenas or college bars?
Oh man, the good old days.
I've seen you in both, so I'm just
Yeah,
wondering.
bars, man. I love this deal, and I like being it. But doing what we're doing right now, we started doing these CID things so I can actually talk to people again. Because it's to a point now where a lot of folks show up and it's like a handshake and a picture and a smile and then be on your way. And I really felt like I was getting out of touch with folks. And because used to be we'd show up, if you saw us play at a bar, we probably drank beer together and partied and everything else before the show. And if you do that now, you really can't get a word in edgewise with somebody wanting you to take a picture or do something, which, I get it now, but it's kind of, for those of you that know me well, you know that, hell, when I'm not doing my job, I'm sitting around the house, I definitely ain't no different than nobody else. I'm real simple, and I like to hang out and shoot the shit, and it's hard to do that when a lot of people view you as something else, you know what I mean? But that's why I'm glad to be here with some folks that can give two shits. We played this show last year, year before in Georgia, and they were like, and believe it or not, our numbers, like, for tickets and things, like, all over the country, we'll sell places out, and then we come to Georgia and it trims down a little bit. And I tell people, it's because I played this state 1,000,000 times before we started playing arenas. And people were used to coming to see us for $5 or for free. And a lot of people know me. Like, I met a lot of people. There's a lot of folks don't like me. That's fair enough. But, it's a thing now where, if I grew up with a dude and I grew up going to bars to watch a dude for $2, then you tell me it's going to be, how much to go see that something that's I think not. I think damn bone collectors coming on in about 30 minutes. But it's a crazy deal. Yeah, those were the good old days, man. Now, I'm not saying that I don't love my job now.
Oh, yeah,
I do, but that was a lot different, a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Since you hang out of a small town, do you do anything to help young artists that otherwise wouldn't get heard?
Man, believe it or not, for those of you who don't know, I moved to Nashville for about a year, and I moved back home. We live in Maysville. But there's definitely some artists that we talk to nowadays. I tell you, the problem with nowadays coming up is, you can give somebody advice all day long, but the way we came up is really unheard of anymore. So you'd almost be digressing progress. You know what I mean? It's hard to get people to pay these guys that play bars anymore. They'll pay them, if you show up, we'll pay you $500. Well, back when we're playing, if I pay my band, and $500 was good money in the beginning, but I got to make at least enough to put gas in my truck to get to the next gig, And now it's hard for them to make that kind of money. It's a set price. Nobody does door deals anymore, so it's really hard to grow a brand. You see people that get on YouTube for 30 minutes, and next thing you know, in 2 weeks, that joker may be a star. So the business and the whole nature of the business has changed so much that I'm kind of a fish out of water. We've always been outside the box. The only advice I know to give anybody is do you. It keeps it simple. You never got to lie about nothing. You got to keep up with lies. If you are what you say you are, what you see is what you get, then it's pretty easy. Write songs about you and do you.
Do you? We love
All right. Yeah.
love from Jefferson,
Yes,
Georgia.
ma'am.
Yeah.
She wants to know if you could sing a song about Milledgeville, Georgia. That's her hometown. And she wants
You're from Milledgeville? I went to college there. They asked me very politely to leave.
Yeah.
We'll see if we can work something out.
It's her favorite.
Oh, yeah?
Villageville in it.
Well, shoot, fire. You're precious. How old are you? Five. Bless your heart. You are precious. Yo, we gonna answer a couple more, and I think you're gonna put, well, what? Don't act like you didn't have your hand up. That's my head of security, everybody. What's your question?
You don't let me every night when I do that. You ask me a question for you.
Yeah.
That if you don't have your sticker bar between that and meat, that you get meat.
Oh, man.
I got you a whole bag.
You say it every night just to hear you say the word Snickers. Is it true if you don't have your snooker bar? Yes, that's very true. All right, we'll take a couple more about that of you. Yes, ma'am.
The first thing you bought your mama when you made it big.
Oh, was the first thing I bought my mama when I made it big.
Mama's the only one who prays for you.
Oh yeah. She
Yeah.
that's an awkward question, honestly. I kind of keep that in a tight circle. I would tell you that. I make sure I always make sure I take care of my mom.
Yeah.
And you know, family's first. So she ain't gonna want for nothing long as I'm alive.
Yeah, there you go, man. She's good. She's good. Yeah.
And I know you mentioned Arlington and our family there. Do you ever get a chance to go to Hawaii and go to Oahu, visit the Arizona because that's
We've talked about doing that.
We were stationed over there and you get there and it takes your breath away.
That's what I've heard. My assistant tour manager and his girlfriend right now. I don't think he's popped the question yet, but they went there and they were telling me about it. So I'm a big World War II buff. So.
It's a beautiful island, but that is the number one place to go. It's beautiful.
We'll have to check that out.
Thank you so much for me. Broncos or Panthers?
Broncos or Panthers, huh? You know what? I gotta tell you, it won't bother me if that game goes either way because I'm a huge Peyton Manning fan. Well, dude, just cause he played at Tennessee, y'all come on. The dude's country as hell.
Yes, he is.
There ain't many old school fellas left like that, just stand back there and throw rockets. So I like Peyton, but you know what? Carolina's close to home and they ain't got a Super Bowl yet, so I don't know. That game can swing either way for me. If the Patriots would have won, I'm good friends with David Andrews, who was our center at Georgia last year. He moved up and he's playing for the Patriots now. So I was going for them all year because that dude's awesome. But all right, last one right here. Yes, sir. Oh well. All right, we'll get both of you. How about that? Yes, sir.
You mentioned that you were going to release one more off the album. Like I said, the album is great from start to finish. Do you have any idea which one we can look forward to? Which song?
It's between a couple. I'm leaning towards 17 again. I just think it's a feel-good song, and it's it's about my wife. So. Yes, ma'am.
We're both from Hepzibah. Have you ever been to Hepzibah?
Hepzibah. My high school football coach coached at Hepzibah before he came to Jefferson. Coach Navis.
Yeah, Navis.
He went to social circle, didn't
he? Yeah. Yeah. He was my senior year football coach. They had me doing everything from returning punts to kickoffs, being hitman on kickoff team, quarterback, free safety. I was the only quarterback in the state of Georgia that had a neck roll. And I had to wear a bubble on my head, got a concussion helmet. Matt will tell you I was goofy looking. All right,
Well,
one
you
more.
ain't
We
no
got you, buddy.
more.
What you got?
Real quick, who does your ink? And I want to say thank you for your support for the troops.
Shoot you, man. Thank you. The guy that's doing them and probably will do them from here on out is a guy named Carl Grace. If you guys haven't seen his work, check it out. He's a total badass. But my wife loves him. It's a trip. If y'all ain't never seen my wife, she's about this tall. She's really cute. Everybody, this is my wife, Amber. You gonna kill him or me? I asked you to come up here.
I got you a gift.
Everybody. Ain't she pretty? I'll put in my coverage, right? Yeah.
Right there.
Fellas, I believe I'm gonna run before I get my ass whipped. I appreciate it, y'all.